The loss of hundreds of lives in the collapse of the Rana factory complex is prompting a rethink by some clothing retailers on both sides of the Atlantic. Labels from the Canadian brand Joe Fresh were found in the rubble a week ago. On Thursday, parent company Loblaw held its annual meeting in Toronto. The company's chairman, who also owns Primark in the UK, has expressed remorse, promised compensation, and he's calling on other firms to follow his lead.
As the front edge of the wedge in global trade, the apparel industry can be a force for good. Properly inspected, well-built factories can help lift people out of poverty in countries such as Bangladesh.
Last week's tragedy gave protesters in Toronto's annual May Day parade a timely target for their anti-capitalist wrath. They stopped outside a Joe Fresh branch to deliver a letter of protest. Activists from Bangladesh told the crowd that condolences and compensation weren't nearly enough.
We don't want compensation for the death. Can you bring them back? Can you bring my limbs back? Can you give me the arm I lost in Savar back? I don't think so.
Consumers in North America and Europe are used to buying cheap, stylish clothing in abundance. That provides much-needed work in low-wage places like Bangladesh, but can result in tragedy, as the Savar collapse demonstrates. Those who buy the clothes may just hold the key to making things better for overseas workers.
The consumer has to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And the way to do it is that the people in the Western world force their governments to have the same regulations and laws applied to those companies and factories in the developing countries who are manufacturing goods for our consumption.
So pledges to improve working conditions as well as compensate victims in Bangladesh from the Loblaw company, parent of the Joe Fresh clothing chain. Worker activists here say that's a good first step, and they'll be watching closely for the follow-up. Daniel Lack, Al Jazeera, Toronto.